So welcome to this class, and in this we are going to do types of elasticity of demand. So we're going to categorize the elasticity, price elasticity of demand. What is the numerical value? It ranges from 0 to infinity. So, and then we talk about, say, 1 greater than 1, equal to 1, none, that is 0, and infinite. So this is what it is. Just have a look. So these are the value of price elasticity of demand. That is, when it is 0, the category of that demand is known as perfectly inelastic demand. And when you are talking about perfectly inelastic demand, you can see the diagram with it. It shows that the demand doesn't change no matter what the change in price is. It remains stuck at OQ no matter what the change in price is. There is no change in demand whatsoever. Then you have the next one is elasticity of demand is less than 1. It is also known as inelastic demand or highly inelastic demand. It has a very steep curve which shows that even though there is a substantial change in price, the quantity demanded doesn't change much. So there is not much elasticity of demand. So be careful, because and then we're going to discuss in the next class about factors that determine elasticity, price elasticity of demand. On what basis do you find which categorization of elastic, highly elastic, inelastic? So that is inelastic. And you know what? We can give an example like all necessary goods are inelastic demand. You do need them, whatever, no matter what the price is. So then you have what is known as, you see next one is a flatter demand curve that denotes price elasticity of demand greater than 1, or it is known as elastic demand. Elastic demand, there is more elasticity in it. You see there's a flatter curve, and in that you see that change in demand is greater than change in price. So then you have what is known as unitary elastic demand, which shows that the whatever the percentage change in quantity demand is equal to the quantity change in price. So the percentage change between the two remains the same, and that's how you get elasticity of demand is known to be equal to 1. So it's a 50% change brings about a 50% change there. Okay, so 50% change in price will bring about 50% change in quantity demanded. A 10% change in price will bring about a 10% change in demand. So obviously the answer is 1, unitary elastic demand it's known as. And you see that you can see in the diagram that it is the distance between P and P dash, and the distance between Q0 and Q1, that is P0 and P1, they are more or less the same. Okay, so these are the categories, and of course the last is perfectly elastic demand, which is infinity, which shows that it's a horizontal straight line demand curve, which is known as perfectly elastic demand curve. And this shows ED is infinite. It's a situation when a small change in price of commodity causes an infinite change in its price, even a minuscule, which can hardly be noticed. That's why it's given as OP, that just that price. Thus a small rise in price would lead to zero demand for a commodity, but at the same price a little change will, at that particular price, the demand is infinite. So you can buy any amount of quantity or on that particular price. So the slope of the horizontal line is 0, so we know that and let me also tell you that elasticity of demand is equal to 1 upon the slope of the demand curve into P by Q. So accordingly, ED at any point of the demand curve is 1 upon 0 into P upon Q, which is equal to infinite. So we've almost finished, but let me just talk about the first one, which we talked about, is a vertical straight line, which is parallel to the y-axis. So this is a perfectly elastic demand curve. It shows that elasticity of demand is 0. So it is a situation when change in price causes no change in the quantity demand. So you can see the illustration there. So elasticity is said to be 0. For example, again, the slope of a vertical line is infinite. So we know that elasticity of demand is equal 1 upon slope of demand curve into P divided by Q. So accordingly, elasticity of demand at any point on a demand curve is equal to 1 upon infinity into P by Q is equal to 0. So now let's just take the situation 3, that is talking about equal to 1, that is it's a unitary elastic demand. Talking about that, in that figure where you see this figure, the last one on top, fourth one. So that is a rectangular hyperbola. It is a curve under which all rectangle areas are equal. It needs to be noted that each rectangular area under demand curve shows total expenditure on the commodity. So total expenditure is P into Q. Thus, when the demand curve is rectangular hyperbola, total expenditure on the commodity remains constant no matter price of the commodity increases or decreases. So Marshall treats this as a situation of unitary elastic demand. So that is how this is illustrated. So it is when the demand curve is a rectangular hyperbole, then in that case elasticity of demand is equal to 1. So at any point on the demand curve, because total expenditure remains constant in response to increase and decrease, or decrease in the price of the commodity, or simply, as I just told you earlier, that percentage change in quantity demanded is equal to the percentage change in price, and that is what is known as unitary elastic demand. And in the next class we will be doing factors affecting elasticity of demand.